Happy Wednesday and welcome to a surprise edition of Hoops with Noops, brought to you by FTN. I am Alex Noops Christensen and I'm here to help you through all the games on tonight's NBA slate. As always, I'll walk you through my bets. I'll walk you through the games that I haven't bet or haven't quite bet yet when we get to the Not for Noops section. But of course, make sure you check out FTN. Lots of great tools, data, content, bets. You get access to the FTN Bets Discord, which I mention all the time. There's a couple bets I'm planning on making tonight. That's where they're going to be. All my player props end up in there. Sometimes I try to share those in here, but all the time, every day you get those, even on the weekends. It's a really great place to be. Great conversations, a lot of good other picks. And again, all the data, tools, really good content. FDN is a really big network, and we're all doing some pretty fantastic stuff, especially if you're somebody like me who only really watches college basketball 3-4 weeks a year. A lot of great stuff going up. I'm going to try to see if I can catch up on about 4 to 5 months of college basketball in a week or so here. And a lot of it's going to be through the great content the guys at FTN have been doing. Mike Randall and the college basketball team, along with Frank Brank and a few others, have just been crushing this season. So take a look at that discount code below. Make sure you sign up and you're getting all that stuff. Of course, subscribe to this channel. A lot of free stuff coming through here. Chris Meany does The Mean Streets, a really good show, touching on lots of different things. The college basketball show from time to time also pops up on here. So again, subscribe. Give me a thumbs up down below. Everything helps us. We really appreciate your support. But we're here to talk about NBA basketball. We've got just about 17, 18 games left for everybody here, and things are really tightening up. It's just amazing how close some of these things are. You've got teams that are the fourth seed in their conference. They'd be hosting a playoff series if this thing started tomorrow, but just a game and a half ahead of having to go into that play-in tournament, falling down to that 7, 8, 9, even 10 seed area where you've got to win 1-2 games just to get to the postseason. And it's really been fantastic how well this has worked. The league has built the play-in tournament where basically they went from guaranteeing playoff spots to 8 teams, the top 8 in each conference. Only the top 6 are guaranteed a playoff series. Teams 7, 8, 9, and 10 have to play a game or two and win just to make it into the next round. Teams are pushing really hard to avoid that. And adds a lot more variance, a lot more uncertainty. So it's just fantastic to watch teams here just try to push towards success for these last 17 or 18 games. But let's get into them. We've got 9 games tonight, one that I have a bet in. I'll walk you through the other 8 and not for Noops, give you some ideas of bets I'm probably going to make later or while I'm avoiding the game altogether. Let's get started with, of course, one of the uglier games, one of the lowest totals you'll see in the NBA this season. The Brooklyn Nets go to Orlando to play the Magic. The Magic are 7-point favorites. The total is 206. Yes, I double-checked that, even though when I got up this morning, I thought it was a mistake. I thought they meant 215, not 205. And maybe that gives away a little bit what we're doing here from a betting perspective, but two teams headed in different directions. A Nets team that I was wrong about coming into the season. This was a team full of athletic defensive players. I thought that they'd find a way to play a really aggressive trapping style of defense, be really vicious on that end of the floor, but it's been quite the opposite. The defense has been bad. The offense has been good. They push pace. They shoot a lot, score points in bunches, but have really been up and down since the All-Star break. Got their coach fired, have Kevin Ollie there as an interim now. It's just really been all over the place. From time to time, you'll see them pop and have a big night, but not really a great team and one headed towards a rebuild. Whereas you've got the Orlando Magic. They're the 4th seed in the East right now. They've been a real surprise. They're going to comfortably go over their win total. They have a chance to win their division. They were big underdogs to do that at the start of the season. Paulo Banchero looks like a star. Franz Wagner looks like at least an all-star level type player. They've got a bunch of depth. Jalen Suggs has been a fantastic defender, one of the best perimeter defenders in the league, and is shooting close to 40% from 3 this year. A big improvement for him. Just talent up and down this roster. A lot of pieces that they can use to improve the team. I think they are well deserving to be favorites of 7. But like I mentioned, this total is low. It is too low. I get it. Scoring is down all over the league. Since the All-Star break, you're up 25, almost 26 units, I believe, if you just bet under every single closing total. What we've seen is a big change in free throw attempts. Shooting efficiency is relatively the same. Teams are shooting kind of the same amount of threes, same amount of twos, but less free throws. Each team, if you look at it, is anywhere from 1 to 3, 4 less free throw attempts per game. And you say to yourself, 3, 4, that's not that much. But if it's 3, 4 for one team, that means it's 3, 4 for the other team. We're looking at 6 to 8 less free throws per game. 5 to 7 less points. That is a really meaningful impact to how these games have been played and why we've seen totals so low. but I don't see it in this game. Orlando, when you look across the season, one of the highest free throw shooting teams in the league. And yes, that number's gone down, but only by about a free throw and a half, not really made a big difference. And again, in a small sample size, it could just be that. Again, there's not a big change there. Brooklyn hasn't been a big free throw shooting team all year, and they continue not to be. Now they're shooting about one less free throw, but again, most teams look at a 2, 3, 4 less attempts. So I think the adjustment here in this particular game is maybe a little bit overdone. I have this total at 210, even 211 as I start to tweak some stuff. I just don't quite see it here. Orlando has not really slowed down pace. It looks like they're actually trying to play a little bit faster here based on the last couple of weeks. Brooklyn is happy to run up and down the floor. Again, the shooting efficiency isn't always there for them, but totals for me generally come down to pace. As many shots as you can make. If you're not getting up and down the floor, if you're not getting enough opportunities, you're never going to get over the total. And when I look at this game, I think that we'll have the pace that we need to get 210, 211 points. So I'm going to bet over 206, 207 is fine. If you're looking at 208 for some reason, it's real late, this number has moved with us, go ahead, that's fine. Anything 208 or lower, and it's always hard. Low totals generally go under. It's hard for books to set numbers low enough, but I think what we've seen is over the last couple of weeks, bookmakers are really dragging that average total down. There's a total tonight as low as 203. So I think we've gotten past the point of comfortable here. I think this adjustment is too big. Give me the over in a game that could be very ugly, but should, I think, have at least 210 points. So we'll go over 206 there. Now, not for Noops. Going to go through the next 8 games. A couple games tonight that I think I'll be betting eventually later. Again, make sure in that FTN Bets Discord, I put all my bets there, as well as player props, and you get access to lots of other great stuff. So check out there. But also just want to give you a little bit of a lay of the land in some of these other games, why I'm hesitant, what I'm concerned about, and maybe why I think the market did a good job. It does happen sometimes. They make good bets. Toronto Raptors go to the Pistons. The Pistons, yes, those Detroit Pistons are 3.5-point favorites. The total is 232. The Pistons are favored in a game, and I agree with it. They've done the hard work of losing enough games to guarantee themselves one of the 3 worst records, which gives them the best possible chances as a number 1 draft pick. That now, as they finish the season, they can push these young guys to try to win, to see what they have, maybe trying to start building some positive culture here. So I agree that Detroit should be favored, and Toronto, just really rough here. No Scotty Barnes, no R.J. Barrett, no Jakob Poeltl, Emmanuel Quickley, and Gary Trent Jr. listed as questionable. If one of those 2 guys listed as questionable is out and both are out, I'm going to look at a Raptors team total under here. They've really struggled to score. We played the team total under when they went to Denver the other night. Obviously a loss for us, but they scored only 116 points despite shooting well over 50% and having one of their best 3-point nights of the year. That's what I mean. They needed that kind of aberrant performance to score just 116. I think we're going to look at a team total around 113, maybe even a little bit higher, depending on what happens. But once those guys are announced out, if I know at least Quickley or Trent Jr. is out, I'll be betting a Raptors team total under. So keep an eye on that FTN Bets Discord. It'll go on the NBA Plays channel. Tough game for me to handicap here. The Chicago Bulls visit the Indiana Pacers. Pacers are 4-point favorites at home. The total at 229. Indiana on the second night of a back-to-back. They're one of the worst teams in the league in these spots. They've struggled to cover in the second night. And a lot of that was tied to earlier in the season, though, when they played at a faster pace. They've really slowed down here and done a little bit better in these spots, just trading for Siakam and changing their style since the All-Star break, where 3-point shots are down for them. Again, as well as pace, they're playing a little bit slower. So not sure what the impact is there. The Bulls in a tough schedule spot. They played a 4-game road trip, went home, got smacked by the Mavericks on Monday, and then had to go to Indiana to play here tonight. That's 6 consecutive games where they've had to travel beforehand. That can be really tough for a team. The Bulls are playing better, as they tend to do towards the end of the season for some reason, but I just can't make a case here. I think the Bulls are live, lean towards Chicago, but I do make this game Indiana -3, so not much value here in the spread of 4. I'll skip on this game. NBA Finals rematch. This should be a lot of fun. The Miami Heat host the Denver Nuggets. The Nuggets 3.5-point favorites. The total is 216. We saw these teams play about 2 weeks ago at this point, right at the end of February. A really interesting, fun game. The Nuggets won a close matchup, a very low scoring. Total finished, I believe, right around 200, maybe 201. And we saw these teams only take about 165 or so shots. Your average NBA game features about 180 to 190 shots. So you can see kind of how much the pace slowed down, how much fewer possessions there were, and what is sort of a playoff style game. Both of these teams know that this is a great opportunity to try to play their best, to work on some scheme things. And what you see there is they grind out possessions, meaning they hold the ball for longer, looking for the best shot possible, as opposed to trying to push pace. And again, totals are all about pace. The shooting numbers were just fine. There really wasn't the possessions last time. So lean towards the under, but really can't make a case for it here. My numbers came out pretty close to what the market has. The Charlotte Hornets go to Memphis to play the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies are 2-point underdogs. The total is 203, and that's about all I really care to say about this game. Charlotte is terrible. Memphis is without Jaren Jackson Jr. They're terrible. This game is a mess. Anything could happen here. The total's 203. This is likely going to be our lowest total of the season, and it might finish even lower than this. Don't think about this game. Don't watch it. Let's move on. The Cleveland Cavaliers go to New Orleans to visit the Pelicans. Pelicans 6-point favorites, the total at 217. I think this is a spot where I'm probably going to back the Pelicans early. They've been a great team all season, first quarter and first half, and then wildly different in the second half. They seem to build up these big leads and then just try to salt them away towards the end. The pace slows down. They're willing to lose the second half as long as it's not by enough points to lose the margin and have them be able to win the game. Cleveland's been a good second half team, so everything kind of lines up there, but I'm waiting to hear what happens with Donovan Mitchell. He's been questionable, closer to playing the last few games. I think there's a chance he plays tonight. If he does, the Cavaliers will take some money here and we'll get some better odds on the Pelicans. If Mitchell's out, I think we'll still get some nice prices. So waiting to hear what happens with Mitchell. And once I do, probably be looking to bet the Pelicans first quarter and first half. Again, that'll be in the FTN Bets Discord. So make sure you're in there. If you haven't signed up, there's a discount code floating below. The Golden State Warriors play the Dallas Mavericks in one of the harder games to handicap. I know that you should play alternate spreads in this game, which means you want to be far away from this number and try to sell some points, but I don't know what side you should be on. The Mavericks have the worst defense in the NBA since the All-Star break. They are capable of giving up points to anyone, but the Warriors don't have Steph Curry and have struggled to score. Maybe they can have a hot shooting night. Maybe the Mavericks can finally slow a team down. It is a classic case of the stoppable force running into the movable object. I just don't know what to do here. If the Mavericks can play even a modicum of defense, they might win this game by 15, 20, 25 plus points, cover just about every alternate spread. They could really put a big number up on Golden State tonight. At the same time, if they don't play good defense, the Warriors aren't afraid to shoot threes. They're going to get them up. And if those start to go in, this game could be very close. And you could see the Warriors, although lose this game, maybe only lose it by a basket, be well inside this number at 7. So I think whichever side you like, you try to sell some points, play Mavericks -10 or Warriors +4, something like that. Get yourself some better odds, because I think more often than not, we don't land very close to the spread at 7. I just don't know which side to tell you to pick. The Atlanta Hawks visit the Portland Trailblazers. The Hawks 3.5-point favorites on the road, the total 218. And if it wasn't for the Hornets Grizzlies game, this would be easily the worst game of the night. The Hawks pretty much locked in to the 10th seed, maybe the 9th seed in the Eastern Conference. They're going to be in the play-in. They're without Trae Young. It's just really a mess. They've struggled to figure out what to do. And it's hard to believe they should be favorites on the road, but they should. The Trailblazers are without Malcolm Brogdon. They're really trying to see what they have in Scoot Henderson, which is good. That's what they should be doing, but it's not a winning decision. Scoot's a very young player, needs to learn how to play NBA basketball, and has the problem of leading a team with really only one shooter with Anthony Simons. Again, Brogdon, one of their better three-point shooters. Without him, Jeremy Grant's questionable tonight, another good shooter. Without those guys, there is not any space on the floor. Just a mess of a game. Lean towards the under, but really don't know what to do here. Hard to handicap these two teams. I'll let this game go. This is probably the most important game of the night. The Los Angeles Lakers go to Sacramento. The Kings 2.5-point home underdogs, the total 238. The Kings 2 games ahead of the Lakers in the standings. The Kings are your 7th seed in the West. That means they get to host 1 or 2 play-in games if they need to get into the postseason. The Lakers, the 10 seed. That means they have to win 2 games just to get into the playoffs. If the Lakers can win this game tonight, they bring that separation to only 1 game. Now, the Kings have beaten them 3 times this year, so they've got the tiebreaker, so sort of a half-game extra lead for the Kings. But this gets the Lakers close and really gives them a real chance, if they win tonight, to get into the 7 or 8 seed, where they only have to win 1 game to make the playoffs and not 2 in the play-in tournament. Now, that said, Sacramento, again, has beaten them 3 times and looked pretty good in those games. They seem to match up very well. They are on the second night of a back-to-back, but played at home last night and won that game comfortably against Milwaukee. So I'm not too worried about them. I'm pretty close to market here, but what I will point out is the Lakers have been bet heavily. This line opened up with the Kings as 2.5-point favorites. Now the Lakers are 2.5-point favorites. So the market telling us they trust LeBron and Anthony Davis here to do their best. Now, does that mean that you should just trust the sharps that have shaped this number and chase the Lakers at a bad number? No. Watching the market is very important. You got to observe what happens. And the sharps are clearly telling us they think the Lakers are the right side, moving this line 5 points. But they took all the good numbers. They bet every number worth betting. They've stopped betting it at this number, which means more often than not, this is probably the right number. A lot of people will call this steam, and they think you just chase the sharps and you always be fine. But they're sharp because they get the best of the number. They're willing to be really decisive and know, sorry, I need another point. I need another point and a half. I'm not just betting the Lakers blindly at every number. I need the right price. So be careful here. Be careful chasing steam in general. But again, be sure you watch the market. There's a lot to learn there. That's the last game we have. Again, those are all the games I'm not betting. The one bet I do like, we're going over 206 in the Brooklyn Nets Orlando Magic game. Should be a lot more fun, I think, than the market expects. We'll get just enough pace, just enough shots up to go over this number. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching. Again, subscribe to this channel. Give me a thumbs up. I'd appreciate that. And if you have any questions or suggestions yourselves, leave them below in the comment section. I'll get back to you as soon as possible. I'll be back on Friday for another video edition of Hoops with Noops, but you can read me tomorrow as well in written form, and Thursday, again, on FTN Bets. I'll be posting that out. You can always find it on my Twitter at _Noops, or make sure you follow the FTN Bets Twitter account at FTN Bets. A lot of good stuff going up there, a lot of extra picks. Sam, one of our NBA handicappers, crushing props. He's sharing those every day. Make sure you check it out. Thanks again for watching. I'll be back soon. Best of luck until then.